Hey everybody, this is Trader Steve. It's Sunday, July 6th, after our big July 4th celebration here. We had a tropical depression go over the top of us, or just about the top, and it just rained Saturday and Sunday. But Friday was just a beautiful day. Everyone got to do the fireworks thing, and then it just went downhill Saturday from there. And the sun's coming out now, so Chantal's gone, and it's off to a new week. We're getting ready to run into earnings season, and that starts the week after next, I believe. But we're going to start off with the triple Qs. It didn't do a whole lot last week. You know, it was a short week due to the holiday, and a kind of a bullish period that first week or two of, or around July 4th. It tends to be pretty good upside, but it seems like it moved more the week before than the actual week of July 4th. So I didn't do a whole lot last week. So we're looking at the triple Qs broke out to a new high. I think it was the short day, Thursday, it kind of moved pretty good. And then we're going to the SPY. The SPY, same things, breaking out from the sell-off due to the Trump tariffs. And then we got our tax bill passed, all that good stuff. And so now what everything's going to be looking forward to will be earnings. And so we'll be seeing how that starts off when all the financials and whatnot start. I think it's week after next that starts going off. Here's the Russell, the weakest of the indexes. You know, the Russell is still trying to play catch up to get back to where it was before the Trump tariff sell-off. Here's the diamonds. You know, 26% of the diamond is financial. The only, in the top 10 holdings, the only real industrial I could see anymore was Caterpillar. I guess they make a lot of stuff still here. But it's getting ready to break out, and I'm sure it will. And so now we're going to go to the transports. They've caught a bid the last 2 weeks, and as you can see, it's not back up to breaking out yet, but it's really good sign to see it moving up. But I'm going to keep my eye on the transports, because if they start rolling over due to all the tariff costs starting to roll through the economy, that's what I'm going to be really looking at. You know, then that will be an alarm bell. So the next month or two, I'm going to be looking at inflation rising. Hopefully, you know, the government numbers will be honest and true, but, you know, there's rumor out there that they're not going to be. So I guess we'll all know as we go to the store and start seeing things, the prices rise, but it's coming. So now we're going to go to the TLT interest rates. You know, we're kind of bouncing along low. They're going to supposedly be cutting rates in September, and we'll see. I guess the FOMC is end of this month, and depending on what they see, because they see things that we can't, hopefully, with their numbers, and I'm sure the jobs are weakening from what they say, and from what I hear from all the younger people I talk to, it's kind of hard to get a job. So keep an eye on this, and when they cut rates, if this goes the opposite direction of which they cut rates, then that's a sign of trouble. Here's the Dixie. The Dixie's flirting with 3-year lows. That's the dollar index. And it'll probably keep just grinding lower and lower because our debt's getting bigger and bigger. And people may actually do something about it when we get to the point to where they have to, because that's how the government works. You know, it's reactive, not proactive. And here's the GLD. You know, it's kind of chopping sideways. You know, I'm waiting for this to kind of chop down in here because I'm going to jump into the nugget again. I'm hopefully going to see it get back down into the low 60s, high 50s, but we'll see. Just got to keep an eye on it. Here's the semis. They're breaking out, but they showed some of the semis showed some weakness last week. You know, so maybe the they're going to just start chopping sideways until earnings proves that they still have what it takes. Here's Apple. You know, it finally moved. Finally, after this chop for months. And so Apple's got issues, and we'll see if they overcome the issues. I'm not expecting a whole lot more out of it, but earnings are coming up for Apple on, let's see, the 31st of July. You can see down here all these beautiful little things that they put down here. So the 31st, we'll see what Apple has to say and see if, you know, the Donald Trump will force them to start making iPhones in America. I doubt that will happen. From what everyone says, it would just cost too much, and we'll see. We'll see what's happened. Keep an eye on Apple. It's a good one to trade, lots of options, but, you know, if Trump doesn't quit banging on old Tim Apple there, I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot for old Apple to do. Here's Bitcoin. And there's just a flood of coins and stable coins and all sorts of stuff coming out. And usually that's a harbinger for you're coming to the end of the line. There's just going to be too much supply for the people that buy this stuff. And we'll see what happens. But, you know, there's just too much of that stuff going on. And we'll see what happens. That's all I can say. Here's Coin. You know, they just had a rip-roaring last 3 weeks, so it's probably going to settle down here. But that was a monster move the last couple weeks. And here's MicroStrategy, just is chopping sideways. I don't know what's going on. This is a Bitcoin holder that it moves sometimes really well, but it's got a really bad business that it's wrapped a bunch of Bitcoin around. But it trades, and if Bitcoin goes up, good. MicroStrategy should, but it really hasn't been participating like the coin. So something's up with that one. I don't know what it is. Here's Novo Nordisk. I took some of this down, and I'm waiting for it to get some strength, and I'm going to add to it, and I might make it one of my core positions here. Long-term play. Just, you know, looking at it. And here's an oil stock. You know, OPEC Plus came out. They're going to be making some more supply available. I guess that's to keep all the Americans from drilling, you know, with all the regulations that are coming off, because they're not going to drill unless they can make any money. That I can assure you. So if the rest of the world floods the market, I guess, you know, Americans aren't going to be making any new bets on drilling more production. Now Tesla, this is the problem child here. This is a great mover, but boy, it's been a really bad mover the last 3 weeks. It's kind of waiting, I guess, for, you know, Elon Musk to quit running his mouth, and now he's going to start a new political party, and I guess when Trump starts throwing things at him, you know, that'll mean Tesla's heading down. So I'm going to be looking for some downside here in Tesla. I'm just waiting for an opportunity to see what it does on Monday when it opens. It's got earnings coming out on the 23rd, and so we'll see what happens with, you know, all the political stuff and earnings on Tesla. Maybe they're not getting beat up so bad in China and things will be good, but I'm looking for this to be moving to the downside, so keep an eye on it. NUGT. Here's the one I'm waiting for it to come on down here, the low 60s, high 50s. I'm going to be loading up because I think inflation will be rearing its head here this fall. Now, NVIDIA, you know, breaking out to new highs, but we'll see if earnings can keep propelling this. It's not going to report for a while. It's kind of reports late in the cycle, so there's nothing on the calendar for that in July or August. And here's AMD. Now, AMD, if you're going to buy chips, you know, to get back up to its $200 previous high, it's got a ways to go. So it's not a real fast mover, but if you buy the dips here and earnings are good and it kind of can give NVIDIA a run, you might get back up to the 200s here. We'll see what happens. And here's my financial, JP. I could have put Goldman Sachs up here. It's just been grinding higher. It's been kind of a beast of the last couple months. But JP will be reporting here on the 15th and kicking off earnings season. And we'll see what happens with the banks. They've been on a tear. And you can make some money trading options in these. Finally, they're actually moving and the price of the options are reasonable, so you can actually make a few bucks. So I hope this helps you here. It's, you know, I don't see anything to stop this market, but you never know when you wake up Monday. If the news is bad, something crazy's happened. I mean, Trump's talking tariff stuff again, and we got our July 9th date coming up. We'll see what happens. Who knows? But trade well, and hope everybody had a wonderful July 4th. And I wish everyone the best, and have a great week. Talk to you later.